Hi, Lauren. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, Elisha, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you for coming. It means a whole lot. Thank you for coming. Okay, Lauren, I am so excited to have you on the show for some reasons. Okay, the first one is because I strictly believe that knowledge is the solution to world's problem. And secondly, I firmly believe that there are some things that Lauren knows, okay, that some of my audience needs to hear this stuff directly from your mouth in order to experience transformation. I firmly believe that. And thirdly, even I myself, I believe that I am definitely going to learn one or two things from your story, your insight, your experiences. Okay, I've got my notepad here, so I just can't really get started. Okay, Larry, for that reason, I want us to get started with your introduction. Okay, then you further tell us about, your journey so far, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Lauren, over to you.
Thank you so much. So, as a female business owner, I face a lot of challenges every day. One of the biggest issues I find is not being taken seriously. And I overcome that challenge by being educated, by understanding where people may be coming from, and just by trying to have an open mind. And when I communicate with people, the biggest thing I try to portray is my experience in my industry. That way, when people say, "Oh, you're, a young entrepreneur, business owner," oh, I guess you actually do know what you're talking about. So by showing people that there's value to what I do, what my company does, and just kind of killing people with kindness. That's really one of the things that I do to overcome obstacles. I've also spent the last few years becoming more educated. I recently received my master's in business administration, and I'm currently working on my doctorate in business administration as well. So I feel like when people communicate with me in my industry specifically, which is a vehicle based industry, and that is 99% men, so they realize, okay, Lauren has been in the vehicle industry for 12 years. And she also has the education about being a business owner. So maybe I can understand and take her word for its value. So yeah, those are the a few things that I really tend to come
Oh,
across.
beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. Okay, I still want you to share a bit about your journey. I mean, what led you to become a business owner and a doctoral candidate? Can you share that with us?
Yes,
Okay.
that's right. Well, my business is actually family owned. My parents started our vehicle donation company in the 90s. And when I graduated from undergraduate college in 2012, my dad was actually diagnosed with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And at that point, it was my choice to decide, do I step in and help my family business, or do I continue my education and go do what I had initially planned, which was becoming a therapist, an MFT? And at the time, it was really important to me to spend more time with my family, especially my dad. So I ended up saying, I'm going to move home, help take care of him, and take over the business so my mom could basically become his main caretaker. So I started in the business not knowing anything about it and having very little guidance because my parents who began the business, my dad was in bed and my mom was caretaking for him. So I learned everything about the company on my own, going through looking through past client records, just kind of navigating through the customer service and the interpersonal relationships between each employee that we had. And I started as a secretary and worked my way up to vice president. So that's really how I got into it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I love that. I love that. Okay, beautiful. Okay, shall we get started with the questions? Okay. So, what inspired you to start Cars to Charities, and what has been its impact on non-profit like Wounded Warrior Project, Habitat for Humanity, and the SPCA? Can you talk to us about it?
Yes, of course. When I first came into the company, we had about 10 main nonprofits. We worked with a few senior home facilities. We worked with Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and we worked with Salvation Army. And by the time I had really cultivated the company, we experienced double growth. And part of that growth was bringing on new nonprofits that were household names. And so we reached out to Wounded Warrior Project, um, Habitat for Humanity, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, breast cancer companies, children's or childhood leukemia foundation, just a lot of these organizations that really could benefit from fundraising. And we sign contracts with them that are non-exclusive, which I feel is very freeing because they don't have to worry about only utilizing one form of fundraising. They can use as many as they want. We don't limit them. And I think that is just something that appeals to our charities as clients. They know that we're really in this to support them in any way possible. But yeah, a lot of the growth was bringing on new nonprofits and just showing them the benefit of what car donations could do for them.
Amazing. You're just so good at what you do, listening to you speak. I love that about you, Lauren. Okay, okay, we
Thank
still have
you.
some questions here. So, can you describe a memorable success story from your work with Cash to Charities? You've got any?
Yes. Of course. So I'm so lucky that I'm able to build these lasting relationships with my nonprofits. And some of the nonprofits I work with are on the smaller side. We work with smaller animal rescues, for example, and we actually receive correspondence from these nonprofits because they're so grateful for the amount of money we're able to raise for them. And they'll let us know where the money's going. So I'll receive these letters that say, you sent us $2,000, and because of these funds we were able to pay for a surgery for this dog who was suffering from cataracts, or this dog who had a broken leg and we found him on the street. We were able to repair his leg, and now instead of losing that leg, it's happy and has four wonderful limbs. So these kinds of stories, they're so small but they're so impactful because we're able to see exactly where the money goes and how it's helping the nonprofits and all of
Hmm,
their
it's
constituents, really.
beautiful, beautiful. That's a great one. That's a great one. Okay, so how do you apply your expertise in human capital management to drive success in your business? Did I say that again? You
Yes,
got it. You got it?
that's great.
Yeah.
So human capital management is something that I really value. Being a business owner and a business manager, the best way to create customer success is through the success and engagement of the team. And actually, after I received my master's last year, I really enjoyed the parts about human capital management. And I went and received, well, I worked very hard for them, but I received my senior professional certificates in human resource management through SHRM and also through HRSI. And both of those certificates really helped me hone in on employee engagement. So a lot of my human capital management was applicable because I was really in the trenches with the team, making sales calls, handling donations, actually out at charity events, tabling and passing out flyers and really showing people what we do. And I think one of the biggest things that managers don't realize is that if you want to achieve the respect of your team, you have to be in the trenches with them. They
Hmm.
need to see that you're putting in the work, and that you respect the work that they're putting in. And to me, just being able to build a business that's really cohesive, that values the team membership and the engagement has really made such a difference. I mean, our turnover is very, very minimal. We've actually had the same employees for about 10 years. And some of the new hires we bring on, they love the culture so much, they stay with us. We just don't have much turnover. And that is how I've been able to use my background, the applicable, actually in the trenches experiences with human capital management, plus the education that I was able to receive into turning this business into an engaging culture.
Beautiful, beautiful. Earlier I said that I am so sure that I am going to learn one or two things from your story, your insight, your experiences. Now I am learning, I tell you. I'm learning amazing things already.
Oh,
That's
thank
amazing.
you.
I love that part where you said managers needs to realize that in order to earn the respect of their team, they have to be in the trenches with them. That's amazing.
Mhm.
I got that. I got that. So thank you for saying that. Okay, we still got some questions here. Are you still
Great.
free? Okay. All right. So let us look at some um, innovative fundraising strategies that you've implemented that has made a significant impact. Can you share some with us?
Absolutely. So, my company's niche in fundraising is vehicle donations. What that means is people who own vehicles use them for a long time. We spend a lot of money on cars, so we want to use them until they die. And what happens is once your vehicle starts to experience mechanical issues or failures, you either pour money into it to get the vehicle to keep running so you continue to use it, or you decide, I don't have the money for this, I'm going to get a new vehicle and get rid of my old one. The thing is, in the United States, and especially in California, you legally cannot resell your vehicle if it doesn't pass a smog check. So if your car is not running and driving, what do you do with it? So the donation aspect is great because it not only raises money for nonprofits, but it also allows the um, the donor to get rid of a car that's just sitting in their driveway or on the street, not doing anybody any good. So that is specifically the form of fundraising that we are really great at and that we specialize in. But there are other forms of fundraising that are impactful for nonprofits too. So, for example, I received a call last week from a nonprofit that called me and said, Hey, I was wondering if I could receive a donation of one of your vehicles. And I had to explain to them, unfortunately, our vehicles are spoken for. Once they are donated, we send them to auction, liquidate them, and the sale of the vehicle produces proceeds, which is then given back to the nonprofit. And because these cars are not running and driving, we can't give them to people anyway. It's unsafe and it's a liability issue. Plus, I would never want to put someone in a car that I can't guarantee it's running, of course. So what I explained to her is I said, if you're looking to afford a vehicle for your nonprofit, specifically they wanted a van to move children from their homes to school and back to after school activities and things along those lines when their parents were either working or unavailable. I love the cause. But I explained to her the best thing that you can do to receive this sort of vehicle is fundraise for it. Talk to your donors, email them, call them, say, hey, we have a goal of raising $5,000 or whatever the dollar amount is, $5,000 to purchase a used van that's running and driving, which we could use for the children in our nonprofit, and doing this type of fundraising, having a pizza night or a bake sale or a car wash. Some of these small, sort of antiquated, old school way of doing things are still really prevalent. People love to see that and they're happy to spend their money and donate to a worthy cause that's actually helping people. So I explained to her that fundraising could be any sort of facet as long as you have to put the work in and you come up with an organized event.
Amazing. You gave a great advice and a solution. I love that. Okay, let us get personal a bit. We have just few questions left, all right?
Great.
So you mentioned loving food. Do you have any favorite cuisines or dishes that you particularly enjoy? Do you have
Oh,
any?
yes. Well, potatoes are my favorite food, so I'll, I'll eat and cook potatoes in any way possible. I actually just had some potatoes right before our call.
Oh, okay, that's good.
My husband and I are really big barbecue people. We love to smoke meats and grill, and we're always coming up with new ways to make different unique sides. A lot of them having to involve potatoes, but that's what we love. And as far as business, I'm so busy all the time. I sometimes work 10 to 12-hour days, and one of the ways that my husband and I enjoy our company together and how I relax when working so much is cooking and eating.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. It's good to know
Sure.
actually. Okay, so two more questions left. What are your
Mhm.
future aspirations for first to charities and your career as a whole?
Yes. Well, my career goal is to continue to build the company and sort of beat out our competitors by letting donors know the reason Cars to Charities is such a great option for car donation is because of the care we put into each vehicle. Most car donation companies actually send vehicles directly to a salvage yard or a junkyard, which means they're getting very minimal amounts for each vehicle. For us, we actually weigh options for the vehicle. We'll decide should it go to auction, where someone could actually purchase it and refurbish the vehicle to use. Should it go to salvage or scrap, where we can get the money for the metal, or should it go to a specialty auction? So if we have a classic car, something like a 1967 Ford Mustang, that is going to go to a classic auction or be sold to a collector or a museum. And these are the types of things that we do to ensure that our donors are getting top donation deductions for their vehicles and our charities are getting top dollar too. So, yeah, my ultimate goal is to just continue to spread the word about the work we're doing and how it benefits donors, but also their favorite nonprofits.
Beautiful, in what you're doing. And it is really, really, really helpful and impactful. On that
Thank
part where
you.
you mentioned that, yeah, the donations, they rescued some animals, the dog who's got issues with its leg and all of that. That's beautiful. Okay, Lauren, to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, your company, and learn more about what you do, how can that be possible?
Of course. My final thought is if you have the opportunity to help the community in any sort of way, to assist your neighbor, not necessarily the person who lives next to you, some sort of person or animal or cause, do it. I feel like being a part of something bigger than myself, being able to support communities across the country and save the life of a dog or help children because our money is going to pay for the newest machinery or technology possible to cure cancer. Those things are so fulfilling. And I just urge anyone who has the time or the money to support a cause. I think it's just so important to give back. That's probably the one thing I would say to leave the listeners.
Yeah,
In order to in order to contact me, you can reach me by email. It's Lauren at cars2charities.org. The other thing is Instagram is great too at Cars to Charities. Those are the best ways to contact me.
okay, that's amazing. So, Lauren, that's gonna be the end of the show. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for, impacting me and the audience very soon by the time this is published with this, invaluable insight. You're just so good at what you do, and I'm so glad to have you on the show. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Elisha. Have a great day. Bye.